Yes, it is. All right. And let me also just put it on the record, just in case. All right. And let me also just put it on the record. Just So hello and welcome everyone to the Fashion for the Earth webinar series. This is the second episode. In the first episode, if you haven't watched it, it is available on YouTube. So you haven't missed anything. You can just go watch it. We already have got some queries from many college students that please send us the recording. So it is available on YouTube Earth the Network India channel. And we are back with again with two more amazing speakers. And as usual, Kashish Bhatia, who is going to be moderating the speaker session. But firstly, Happy World Cotton Day to you all. And why I specifically am saying this, because we might remember Earth Day on 22nd April and Environment Day on 5th of June. But we tend to miss these very beautiful days, and we do not know the history of anything related to these days. And it's just basically the World Cotton Day is commemorated to basically highlight the importance of cotton in our lives. From your childhood, you have seen a lot of products made from cotton, and the best one I could say, the earbuds, which are not really the earbuds. These are used for very different, I mean, scenarios. But cotton is everywhere, and especially in clothing. The one product, the one I would say cloth piece that everybody love and have and must have is cotton. They always check in clothes, especially in India. Whenever people go to market, they always check, hey bhaiya, is this really cotton? Is this 100% cotton? So cotton is one of the very purest form in clothes that we usually have, and that's why I'm also wearing this cotton kurta today. What Kashish also asked. So before moving, let me introduce our guest for today. We have Arceli Galigo, if I'm pronouncing the name right, who is a
Yes.
sustainable fashion advocate, speaker, and serial entrepreneur. Her passion for fashion led her to uncover the less glamorous side of the industry, inspiring her to demonstrate the possibility of an alternative fashion approach. We nowadays always are looking into fast fashion, some alternative clothes, but this is a new thing. How we can look at an alternative fashion approach that she is trying to do. She's not only the co-founder of GoShopia.com, which you can check out, but also the Sustainable Soak, and also she serves as a UAE's Fashion Revolution country coordinator. So if you have any questions ready for her, please drop in the chat box. You can also put it on the live on the YouTube and we'll be taking it up. We have some pre-registered questions for you all as well. Another guest we have is Ashita Singhal, who is a weaver, designer, and social entrepreneur. She believes in working with limited resources and local materials, which you will not find in a lot of people nowadays. Everybody wants to have more and more, to create more and more, but you can learn from her how, with limited resources and local materials, you can still create whatever is required in the market. Via her design studio, Paiwand, if I'm pronouncing it's right again, she challenges the conventional norms of textile design while focusing on the importance of craft and the need for sustainability. So, and we have Kashish, who's the founder of Kashish Global, with which we are doing this series. This is a three-part series. This is a second webinar, and the third is going to be amazing. We were just talking; it might be a physical one as well. If you will be in Dubai, you can join that. But we will try to do something in India as well, so you can be a part of it. We will not leave you behind. So. Now, without any further ado, over to you, Kashish, for the moderated session. We have some questions already, and then we will open the question answer round for you, public. You can leave your questions in the question box as well as in the chat. Over to you, Kashish.
Thank you so much, Romit, for this introduction for both our panelists. And even you are looking so handsome today. And, it is such an interesting thing that cotton is the first fabric which we normally opt for when the newborn or the baby is born. Like we look forward that the baby should be like that is more comfortable and more soothing to our skin and our body. And I wonder that as we keep growing, we have the same skin. Yes, it has got more equipped with this weather, but then we start shifting it to other things. But how different things would be if we are always kinder to our body the way we are to the newborn babies. So I'm so excited for today's conversation because both these amazing females, it's not only that I know them by their bios or just by a social media thing. I have worked very closely with both of these women who are not only like entrepreneurs and advocating sustainability, but they are so willing to contribute to other people's business. And I just feel that in the world of sustainability, it's not only about having conscious choices, but it's truly about educating and awareness because it makes the cycle complete. So thank you so much, both of these beautiful women, to be on this board, and to all of us who is watching this now and later. It's truly, truly, I'm so grateful for everybody, and especially even to Earth Day org for joining hands for this beautiful collaboration.
Yeah,
Is
thank you so much for having us, and thank you so much for organizing all this. I think it's the need, really. There is a real need to talk about all this more often, more on the open, and create awareness. I think it's very important.
Yeah, yeah. Like just before this conversation, I was just talking like, how in sustainability, bringing education and awareness is so important if we are really looking at making a change and not the noise. So yeah.
Precisely.
After
Thank you for having us, and thanks for the beautiful introduction that you gave, both of you. It's really sweet. I'm quite excited that this conversation is happening on the Earth Day. I think there's no better day to discuss this, and I'm really looking forward to this webinar.
Yeah. I would like to start a conversation with Arceli that, when I moved to Dubai and you are based in Dubai and you were, you started working with bringing the change with sustainability in UAE. What made you like move towards sustainability? Was it something planned, or is it over the period you decided? If you would like to talk on that.
Everything was very organic. My change, my transition was very organic. I was a fashion editor, and I discovered the ugly side of fashion, that it was not anywhere really to be found. So it was through a Fashion Revolution meetup that I learned all these very scary statistics, and I left a little bit in disbelief from that meeting. But I started researching, and then when I realized actually this is true, I realized that there was time to change the narrative and to support the people that were doing more things in the sustainable side. So that's basically what started me. Initially, through the magazine, I was creating awareness about all those designers. There were very few, to be honest, because UAE is not the most sustainable place on earth. We can tell you that. But bit by bit, looking and digging and creating more awareness, now we have a nice I think a nice offering, and it's kind of like, it's exciting to see. For example, we also work with universities and young designers, and how they are already implementing sustainability into their business idea, into their concepts, into their collections. Is super exciting. So that's a little bit what drives me, really, trying to create change, but within the industry, so from inside the industry, supporting the designers, the artisans, the makers, that are the ones that are going to be bringing real change in the industry.
Wow. And like with this journey, have you found any challenges with
The whole journey is a challenge.
like I don't know, I keep telling to people that, being specialized with wedding. Yeah.
It is super challenging because we are talking about changing the mindset of people. And also, fast fashion, it has been so good at creating convenience and even a little bit of a fashion addiction, to always have a little bit of extra dopamine by buying new shoes, new clothes, you're depressed, oh, you have fight with your boyfriend. Just go to the mall and buy whatever. And that is actually really terrible, let's face it. If you're a conscious consumer, you control yourself more from this, right? So it has been a challenge. First of all, finding designers that would be up to the challenge, because it is a challenge, and you are a fashion designer that is actually in that challenge, and you know how challenging it is to find the materials, how challenging it is to find clients that understand what you are doing and are happy to pay the price point of that fair wages for your artisans, that material that is more expensive. It is a challenge to kind of like find that balance between the market and what you're doing. It is a challenge also for the designers, for example, to market themselves. Having a marketing agency is kind of like expensive. You know, how do they do with their small brands to try to market themselves and maybe get a little bit more of economies of scale, so that maybe they can have more leverage when next time they're going to be negotiating with their suppliers. It's all a challenge, to be honest. The whole thing is a challenge. And that's why, in a way, Goshopia came about, because the whole idea was like, if we support them and we connect them with the market and with the people that are looking for this type of clothes, then there is chance that we have like a small, beautiful community that feels and breathes the same values. And I think that's the beauty of it, really. Like, you know, like we as a community come together, support the people and the values that we believe in, and support one another, because competition, fashion is a very saturated market. There is a lot of brands. Most of them are not really doing what we are doing. Let's face it. They don't see the point, or they don't see that the clients are gonna be happy to change or to embrace maybe the values, or they just say but they don't really do. You know, they fall into greenwashing marketing tactics. It is very tricky. It is. So the whole thing, I would say, is a challenge, but we like a good challenge, and we are here to try to overcome it and try to make, you know, the best out of it, and learn and support one another and try to, you know,
Like,
make
you know,
it
some
happen.
challenges are sweet challenges. And when you overcome that, I think there is more joy, like, you know, rather than feeling exhausted, I think you just have that sense of that happiness that, yes, you're bringing in the change. And as you said, like, you know, it's, I think when people come together and the power of community, they tend to make a difference. Like, it's so important that we collaborate and, you know, the community come together, and it's such a different impact with that. uh Ashita has worked very closely, like we both, the entire collection with the Kashish Global is being upcycled and recycled with Ashita, and she's a beautiful textile designer. But rather than me telling about it, Ashita, how Pevin is actually impacting and reducing the challenges of the waste, if you would like to talk on that.
Yeah, actually, when we are doing multiple things, I think when I was in the classroom studying fashion, that was when I realized the problem of it, because a batch of 30 students would generate so much of waste within just 3 hours. Like, this was my first session when I was asked to make a garment, and within 3 hours, the entire floor was filled with textile scrap. And that was the awakening moment for me. And that is when I kind of, started doing my research and learned more about how ugly this industry could be. And that's when I realized that I cannot function on the same ways like the industry is functioning. And being a young designer, I felt like this was on me to, start that change or bring the change. So I was like, that's how the entire journey started. Pebans was my graduation project when I was studying fashion. And we just realized that designers are conscious. It's not that they're not conscious. They want to do something for the environment if given a choice. The only problem that happens is that fashion cycles are so busy. Once you're into the business of fashion, there is really, you don't get time to even divert from what you are doing. So that becomes a very crucial point for in the industry, and that's when we realized, okay, how can we bring the change? Instead of being another competitor in the market, can Payvand be another collaborator? Can we provide upcycling services to these designers and, help them upcycle the scrap? So that was the major idea, that we become a textile studio. Though I studied fashion, I had no idea about how the fabrics were being woven on anything. But I was just passionate about it. And I was like, okay, can we develop a textile studio, a new concept in India where we would offer designers to get their waste upcycled, even fashion brands or anybody. And that's how the entire, ideology of Payvand was established. And then I saw, like, being in India, like 90% of the world's handloom production comes from India. Yet the cluster is dying because there is no demand left. And there's huge competition that the weavers are getting because of mass production. And, again, economies of scale. People are producing on Parloom. Other kind of, technologies are being used. So these artisans are losing their job. So that's where we got into the picture, that how we can, maybe reintroduce a different material to them so that we can place their craft in the global context of sustainability. So
Correct.
though as a brand, we don't follow trends, but we were featured in WGSN trend report in 2026 as under craft maximalization, which is a huge achievement for us, in the sense that that is how we wanted to bring the change. We wanted this to be featured, in places, and people to understand that how crafts are important. So you're producing something which cannot be done on Parloom, so which gives us an edge, which gives the viewer an opportunity to showcase their craft. So yeah, that's majorly what we are doing at Payvand.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, we only look forward for trend setting or the upcoming trend from the style perspective. But then you
Yeah.
are not looking from a style perspective, you're looking, style as timeless, and you're making changes with the fabrics and how the simple fabric can be wove, that too with the hand, in such a different ways. Like, and would you like to even elaborate on like how you're preserving local crafts and like the impact of artisans, which is so much important in today's time, where on the other side we are talking about fast fashion, more consumption, more, production.
Yeah. So I feel when the entire terminology of sustainability, came to be in the world, as Indians, we are like, our culture is so rich that it's deeply enrooted into our being. That we have
Yeah.
been, it's nothing like, anybody can tell us how to be sustainable, or, this is just a fancy term. We have always been very mindful of the resources that we are using. There was like, while growing up, there was nothing, nothing would go to waste in one cycle. Like, it was not that you consume and it goes into the trash box. It would
Yeah.
have its own cycle, multiple cycle of it. And
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
just
I
common
feel
sense, right? We lost that, but in reality, it's just common sense. All families before used to be doing that. There was no question about it. So, but
yeah, I mean, that's where the entire mass production and industrialization kind of impacted our sense of being, because we are being fed that, okay, we are, the idea of happiness is being associated with us, with you buying more. Like, if you buy more, then you are happy. So people are finding happiness in different places and not understanding, like, if the earth is happy, we all are going to be happy eventually. So
Correct.
that's the major purpose. And when I started working with the indigenous people, the craft community, I think that's when I understood myself also, like I had lost a huge sense of personality, in the sense that when I was in college, I was buying things, I was regular, uh, like the new fashion look in the college, a teenage college going student. So I was like that. And that's when I realized, okay, we're missing out on so much, right? When I sat with the indigenous people, this profession has given me this opportunity to work with closely with the craftsmen, and the kind of learnings they have, the understanding they have for the nature, the environment, it's truly precious. The way they know their technique, it's nothing like, the way we see handloom and the way they see handloom is completely different. For them, it is a canvas. And
Yeah.
that was the idea of Pevan, like, how do we explore beyond, what they have been making or
Yeah.
how they've been perceived? So how do we change that perception and make it appealing for, in today's conversation of sustainability?
Yeah.
And I think we have done a good job in the sense that when Kashish came to us after finding us somewhere, like, she's, I think everybody's aware now that she's good with her R&D. So she found us and she was like, okay, I want to develop this fabric and what do I do? So for our collection, we have used like discarded dhotis that are there in India. A lot of dhotis we have used. The entire collection was white. So we got different type of materials. So it was quite a challenging project. And, like the idea that something that's woven on handloom with just basic white fabrics and how it turns into couture, the way Kashish has perceived the world. So it was such an amalgamation of two different sensibilities. And then, us coming together and creating this collection, I think it was truly precious.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's such an interesting thing, right? Like earlier, like, as you said, as a teenager and all of that. But with me, I used to feel pride in saying that I don't repeat my outfit at least in 30 days or 90 days. 30 days, I would be conservative about it.
We all were there, I think, at one point. We all were consumed with it.
And now, I wore the same outfit for my fashion show and when I went for Dubai fashion show, and I was pretty comfortable to even post on. And then I had a party and I wore the same outfit there. And I remember you also telling me that when I see your picture is always now white because I truly, and it's so much, I think it's not because it's my brand, but it's even about like when you repeat it and you can style in so many different ways. So, I think it's a myth when we tell that, buy one outfit, say for $100 or buy one outfit for $1,000. But if you're not going to repeat it, then where is like, what are we really doing? And
As
yeah,
an editor, Kachis, when I started transitioning and I used to wear, you will fall in love with certain pieces of clothes that you like, and so I would wear them consistently to all the events too. And the people were like, "Oh, but we saw you already. You wore this dress in whatever, whatever." And I was like, "Yeah, I have a washing machine. What's the issue?" Before I would be kind of like same as you guys, like, no way, the Instagram, I cannot post the same clothes again, I cannot post the same accessories again, yada yada. But once you realize, why not? Who is dictating? What is all this social pressure coming from? Am I gonna just do whatever they like? If I like a dress and I feel comfortable in it and I love how I look on it, why am I gonna be wearing it more often and take pictures and enjoy and share it with the world? It's one moment of real confidence because you really like what you are wearing and you are feeling empowered. Why are you gonna just not put it on Instagram? No. So I'm also a proud outfit repeated, and I think it's very important that we talk about this because
yeah,
the Instagram is killing all these, really. Like everybody wants to look unique every time, and I think that's really, really, honestly, is stupid. Let's face it. Yeah, we cannot be having one piece of clothes or one look for every day of the year. That's doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Like now when we see celebrities talking about it openly that I've repeated my outfit and it's a sustainable, even that is sustainability. Like, forget about like making a huge choice change, but even like you okay with posting second time on social media what you're wearing can be such a great impact, like especially to millennials or people like, because I know this conversation would be heard by a lot of fashion students. Like that itself can be such a badge of honor because it's about making conscious, like not wearing something which is only like, you know, more of making style change, but something which is more kinder on you and not having that social discomfort or a pressure that I cannot wear this because I cannot post on social media.
Yeah, we have to
And
stop.
yeah.
We need really not to succumb to this social I don't know, pressure really. We
Yeah.
are bigger than that. We just should do what we like and dress
Yeah.
how we feel. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would just like to add on one thing. I really agreed with, what Arasali, I think I'm pronouncing your name right, said that, the important key word is to fall in love. It's not about $100 or $1,000 garment and, how will you wear it or what you will do it. It's just basic. You need to fall in love with the pieces that you own. If
Yeah.
you love them, you will repeat them no matter what. And, and that love, the relationship of love with the garment comes also with, you wearing it, because it kind of embraces your personality. You find, a voice, a silent voice that you want to communicate to the world, and that you don't have to say it out loud. It's your clothes that tell your story. So I think that's a very important part, and
Yeah.
that a lot of people don't focus. Like, that's when you kind of stop focusing on the trends and start understanding who you are and choosing pieces as per your personality, as per your style. And
Yeah.
it can go as long as you want to keep them, you care for them. So it's just that relationship.
Like on the
And I
other
think
day,
also we need to change. Oh, sorry.
please go ahead.
I think also we need to change. I don't know if your moms used to tell you the same. Never go to the supermarket hungry, right? I think we have to change the way we go when we go shopping for clothes. Most of the times it's just because we are having a bad day in the office, or we are upset, or you end up roaming around in the mall, not really sure, or because you're bored. I think it's just so we need to change that, because that's not really retail therapy. That's I don't know, entertainment,
I
I
get
guess,
it.
or whatever. Just a pastime, but in reality, we should be more aware. Okay, what are we intending? Be more intentional. What are we intending with this shop? We're gonna be doing. Who am I, and what do I want to represent every time I'm being me, like I'm out there? Because the clothes is a way actually that we express ourselves. Fashion is important for us as human beings, because it not only protects us from the cold or the hot, it also is a way for us to express our personalities, or feelings or thoughts, how we see life, how we see ourselves. So it's super important that we have that possibility open. But I
Yeah.
think we have to be mindful and intentional about what do we want. If you have a fight with your boyfriend, just don't go to the mall and buy whatever, because you're not gonna probably use those ones, because they're not coming from a moment of you truly, you finding yourself truly. It's probably just out of moment of rage, out of moment of being upset. I think we need to be more intentional, really. Same as when we go shopping, and you don't go hungry. You don't go with the wrong mindset whenever you're gonna be doing shopping. And
Yeah.
it's important also that if we are more mindful and we want to reflect our values, to support the artisans, to support the makers, to support the people that are doing things the right way. Because if you are being mindful, you have more time to reflect. Nobody's going to be pushing you. There's no rush. Take your time, order your piece that is going to be made to your measures. Support the slow fashion. I think it's very important that we are not in a rush to do this kind of shopping. And I'm a shop, and I'm telling you this because I think it's very important that we go with the right mindset, and we
Yeah.
enjoy from a different place, not because we are upset or because we have stressful day. I'm gonna just compensate by buying something. No,
Yeah.
get something that really speaks your truth, that really resonates with your values and represents you as a person. Most of and I think for Kashish definitely, because I know her. I don't know for you, Ashita, but for us at least, it's like those pieces that have a story that we know, that we got to connect with the makers, those are the pieces that you wear proud, that you feel so honored to have one of those pieces, and own it, and take care of it, and you keep it in a storage in a proper way and all that. And I think that's so important that we give
Yeah.
power to those are very powerful threads that we have in there, I think.
Like how, we say that when you're sad, go for a retail therapy. I think that has been understood and misunderstood in such retail
Yeah,
became just fashion therapy. And
yeah,
even with that therapy, like, when you look at from a conscious perspective, like when we say you're not feeling, when you look at the meditative state, It's such like being with yourself and acknowledging what is working for you. But here we go completely opposite and just buy something which comes right in front of you, rather than just pausing and even looking at it that, am I gonna wear this, say, for 30 times? And if
Yeah.
the answer is no, don't
Or
rush
do I
into
really, really like it, or just because I'm thinking like, you start making up
yeah.
it seems in
And
your
like,
mind.
and my this entire perspective came from like I have worked more than 10 years in the wedding and couture industry. Like I never came across only one person who bought two wedding outfits. But apart that, I have like got like some thousand, more than 1,000 client on which for which I worked for a wedding and a couture outfits. We never buy second outfit. We rather proudly say that we're gonna, wear this again, or am I gonna pass this on as a legacy to my daughter or some, like, to a next generation? Why don't we think about that for every outfit we wear? Because even on your wedding day, 500,000 people are watching if you're an Indian, maybe more. And so is somebody in your regular day. Like imagine right from the you move out from your bed to, on the roads in your office building and you come back. I think more than 5,000 people have watched you. Why don't we make an impact from there?
Yeah,
Wow,
I feel impact is, sorry, you see?
those are very big weddings. We don't have those big weddings in Europe.
You can have every day as a wedding day and enjoy it. You will
Yeah,
see.
totally.
Yeah,
We
I
all
think
have our impact.
Yeah, I think we really need to see the garments as investment rather than as a medium to spend money. I
Yeah.
think if we shift that mentality, a lot of things are going to change. Even, even when I'm upset, I like some of the retail therapy for myself also. But then, I've just stopped going to the malls. I go to the makers market and rather talk to the people, because that's like, that's when you're connecting to the artisans, understanding their story, where they come from, and knowing a bit of their heritage and exchanging thoughts with them. So I feel obviously that you need mediums to be, to be somewhere when you want to distract yourself. Escapism is a big part of our lifestyles, I feel, because there's not every time, you want to just address the situation or your thoughts in that moment. But you can always pick and choose the places you want to be at. You can always, there's always an option to go to a mall and buy from the rack, and there's always an option to meet the maker and, maybe attend a webinar if you want to just change your mindset. So yeah, these are the things I think, like, these are little changes. I feel even the way, we all have trained ourselves, it's an effort of like of a few years. It's not like, not in a night or overnight you can change your thoughts completely or your habits. It's a lifestyle that you have to build, and every step counts. Yeah.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong in going to the mall. Like a lot of time I go, but now I look from not from the perspective we are saying it's a therapy. So let's acknowledge that as a therapy and include it as like wear the garment, see how it is looking on your body, not from a trend perspective, but that is that making you happy. Check how it is made. Look what fabric it is, because that's how, and then look into that, are you buying this because A, your body is liking it, B, is it a trend, or you truly desire something in your wardrobe? And it's not that in a rush of a moment that, oh, just because it is on the sale, or just because it is cheaper, or just because your friend is buying, you have to buy that. So when you get present with all of this, you get a lot of information. Like when you pause, when you reflect, you then look into that, okay, if I'm even buying it, what's my requirement? And even if you feel that, okay, all the boxes, like when you go and look forward for your boyfriend, you just don't buy it because it's cheap or it's rightly available. You go and look into, because you will have that for the rest of the life. So why don't we look at same as pieces, because they are part of your life, they are part of your wardrobe, they are on your skin. Like clothes are your second skin. Why aren't we careful about what we are wearing and how we are wearing it?
Yeah. Very true. And when you were saying, Kashish, at the beginning in the intro about the cotton for kids, for babies, it is very true. We use cotton for babies, but we use for babies mostly organic cotton because just conventional cotton is not good enough, I'm afraid,
Yeah.
for kids
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah.
If they have their skin super sensitive, and their immune system is just brand new, and they get rashes, a lot of rashes if they're using things that are not proper. And sadly, cotton, which is such an amazing crop, we consume it so much that of course they want to get more yield out of it. That's why they use more fertilizers, that's why they use more pesticides, and at the end it's becoming, from something that is good, is becoming something that is not as good. So even though we in the sustainable fashion movement will always tell you rather have a natural fiber, even if it's cotton, but if you can, try even to go organic cotton, which is the additional step, is a way to support the farmers, because you know the farmers that are doing conventional cotton, they are exposed to a lot of pesticides, a lot of fertilizers, all those chemicals. They are in touch with it. They are breathing it, and it's really bad for them and also for the families. That also, when they water it, it goes to the phreatic levels, to the waterways, and it's not good really. So we need to, if we could, ideally even recycle and reuse, because there is so much clothes already in the world. If we could reduce and reuse before, and be more mindful also, even from the supply chain perspective, that would be really amazing. That's why what Ashita is doing is so important, because if she is able to come up with ways to recycle and upcycle what is already existing, that is fantastic. And and also one thing that Ashita, that I wanted to say from what you were saying before, and it's super important. I'm seeing one thing when I work with my artisans, and I want to ask and see if it's going also in your collective. There is the weavers now, their average age is around 60, 65. There is not a young generation that is taking over. From my sad experience, I'm Spanish, we used to have a very thriving local makers and artisans back in the day. But with globalization, we sent everything to China, to Western Europe, and we lost that. There is no generation to take over. Those things are jobs, or those are skills that you learn from home. I don't know. There's not like a school that is going to be teaching you these kind of things. It's something that you learn because you've seen it in the house, you've seen your family doing it, improving, making it better, having their own maybe signature way of doing things. And it's a real shame, because when this happens, in my case in Spain, we lost our cultural heritage, and now there's only 1 or 2 people that is doing it, and maybe they're 90 years old, and we know that once they die, the whole thing is going to be dying, and we only have videos, and like, just to preserve it. It's a real shame, and we used to be an industry before in that, and now it's gone. So I think this is very important, that we acknowledge that this is cultural. We are not only supporting the artisan, is more than that, is bigger than that person. We are supporting our own human culture. We need to make sure that that stays, and that everybody understands that this is how we got from. I mean, now we are talking AI and all these things. All these were steps actually that eventually led us there, So it's human technology one way or another.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, Ashita, this is also something that is happening in your collective, that the retirement age.
Yeah, you would be very happy to hear that my youngest weaver is 22 years old. So how
Unreal, really.
Yeah, and how we're catering this issue, though the majority of the weavers we have are old, they must be above 50 in most of the cases. And the way we see it, like we have just 10 to 15 years to this business, because then the makers won't be there. And, then the entire challenge will start of us developing things on handloom. But the way we have opened the studio, this has been a constant point of conversation in India also with the designers who are working with different craft communities. And I have a very contemporary textile studio in Delhi, which is not, a craft hub. And that's how, like, I realized that, being a young kid, I want opportunities to live in a different city. Maybe I would be very happy if my job takes me somewhere and, I get exposure. So why aren't we thinking it in terms of what artisans, families they are looking for? When we
Yeah.
talk about crafts, you're always, telling a young boy or a young girl just to, stay in the village that you are staying and don't get out of it because we need to preserve the crafts, which is not extremely right. Like, we know we are coming from a good place and, craft conservation, but think of that person as an individual, right? So you're kind of not letting that individual, express themselves, or you just try. Like, we learn so much with, hidden trials. Maybe people are coming to the city and they're not happy and then they want to go back, but they need that experience, that understanding themselves, and that, makes
Yeah.
them true to their craft or true to their culture. So
It has
we
to be such a dignified work that they
Yeah.
can do it and they are appreciated no matter where they are. You know what I mean? This is the whole thing because it's a skill that not everybody has. Same
Yeah.
as you have a scarcity in certain, I don't know, telecom jobs. This is also a job that is pretty scarce and it will disappear if we don't nurture it and give it, make it decent salaries, give it like the appropriate recognition to what it is actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing at Peppa. We are giving them, saving benefits. We are giving them provident fund. We're looking at their healthcare. We're looking at everything that's possible from our end. And we're just telling them to come here and, just be yourself. That's the maximum we're asking from any artisan who's working with us. We don't impose our craft techniques on them. We rather understand that what skill set they come with. And we're always like, okay, whatever you have, it's enough for us. We're never asking you, obviously you would feel the need to be better at what you're doing, but right now let us just, work with whatever skill you have. And it's my job as a designer to, incorporate that skill and make it desirable for the world. So that's where my role is. And we are helping them, like we are taking the burden off them. uh, when they work in clusters, they spend their maximum time in managing the business and not
Wow.
working. And just they have to get the yarns, they have to get work to sustain themselves. There's a lot of back and forth, logistics, everything, client handling. So I'm doing that for them. I'm just telling them that, hey, I'll get you the material, I'll get you everything. You come here and you just do what you like to do, and you just, work on the craft and empower us along with it. I think it's not, I'm not empowering them, they are empowering me.
Wow.
Being in the studio and, choosing to work with
The
our
energy of being together and
yeah.
the energy of togetherness.
Yeah,
Wow.
and we wanted to bring them that, respect to their job. So when I got the opportunity this year, I did 2 fashion shows. I made sure that they walked the ramp with me.
Yeah,
Like,
I
I was
saw
there.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that was featured in every newspaper. They came to Mumbai and they clicked pictures in their phone. They came back, showed it to the other people over here in the studio. Now everybody is looking for, opportunity. So I think that kind of makes the change. Like,
Yeah.
it's a bit like it could be taken in a very competitive light also, but everybody is trying to enhance their skills and get better so that they get a platform next time to, walk the ramp. And they are like, there's a different energy in the studio this year, which we have noticed, which I'm very thankful for. Like, all the women have become really entrepreneurial in our team. They are upgrading their skills. There's no, like, whenever we are looking for any new person to hire for a particular job role, we end up promoting somebody old to
Wow.
that, from that skill. So I
I'm
think
so
that,
much.
yeah, it's been such a rewarding thing. And even like, I don't know, Kashish, you've been to the studio. If you have met Moni is one of my oldest helper.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
recently bought a piece of land. So
Wow.
it was like, wow, like, you followed all the things that you were saying, that we were pushing them to save money. We were, giving them the health benefits, everything. And she ended up buying a piece of land, which was like a great thing for us. And she never takes it off. And she came to me and I was like, why are you taking a leave? She was like, ma'am, like she had to sign some papers for the property. And I was just so happy. I was like, okay, get me some, we need to celebrate this. Get me some sweets the next day you come. So yeah, these are the
That's
little achievements.
beautiful. That's
Like
so
I'm
beautiful.
I'm loving this conversation that how with the challenges in the sustainability, we have
Yeah.
moved to the change not only our present but the future with sustainability. So that's the power when we all come together and not look and completely look from a perspective of change and collaboration. Like there is such a huge impact we can make.
Yeah.
And with that, I would like to ask to both of you that question that what future do you see and what future with fashion and what future do you desire?
Mm.
Like one is something which is a reality, but then as we have gone from challenge to change, and I know that we can make that. You would like to go, Asha,
Ah,
or you would like
I can take this. I think I want to see a future that is balanced. Even like, as a community, we often shift to one thing completely, thinking that this is good. And, after 10 years, we realize, oh, these were the things that were not good because we are overly populated. And, anytime we shift to just the entire audience shifts to just one mindset, it creates a imbalance that we have not thought of while innovating. Like I feel with the fast fashion coming into picture and everything, they were also trying to solve a problem, right? To begin with, they were trying to clothe more people, they were trying to be more
yeah.
accessible, and it was done with a good intention. The intention changes as the number starts to come in, and and the entirety of it like kind of gets messed up when the balance is not there. So
wow.
I don't oppose anything, to be honest. Like I'm a very neutral person. I feel that everything exists, let everything coexist. We as a community of a slow brand or working on slow fashion, we can cater to a certain number of people. If we start catering to the larger audience, then the entire problem will start again, because
Yeah.
we'll be looking for shortcuts to follow for the
And then the
deadline.
entire beauty is gone.
The entire beauty of this
Yeah.
will be gone. So yeah, I think if like right now it's a huge imbalance between fast fashion and slow fashion. If we
Yeah.
come to even near somewhere to the equilibrium, in
Yeah.
that sense that we are not harming the environment, things are being produced, people are buying things, also because it's the industry, it's the economy that we need to sustain. There are so many angles, right? If I don't sell, I start panicking because I have to pay the people. So selling becomes a very important part for us as makers as well. Like,
Correct.
because
Yeah.
at the end of it, we are getting rewarded when anybody is buying from us.
Correct.
And it feels like, almost lying when I say don't buy because I like somewhere
Would
down the
like
line,
to
I
buy.
want you to buy. So why should I lie about it? So I
Yeah.
think the entire economy is sustained that way. Just that when we're used to, working in a certain way, it's very difficult to make a change
Yeah.
and adjust it. Like even if I want to change slight bit of my business model, it is going to affect my cash flow entirely. So those decisions are like, we have to be very conscious in terms of how we are building our roots, how we are starting the company. If the company has been ethical always, they would not find a problem in being ethical suddenly when the world is pushing them to be.
Yeah.
So these are the values I think everybody should build on. But yeah, I think balance would be a great thing to see in the future.
I also always say that it's not that fast fashion is wrong, and it's not a war. It's not
Yeah,
fast fashion versus slow fashion, and let's see who's gonna win. It's so much about coexisting and co-creating because everybody requires a different thing. Like just because oranges are good, we cannot say apples are bad. It's just you may like something and you may like to eat something today and something tomorrow. It's just about the fair, like I would not even say fair choices. It's just about being mindful and present with what are we creating and how we are creating.
Yeah, I think the balance part is like fast fashion brands, they don't need to exist at the level that they're existing. If
Yeah,
they like
yeah.
scale down a bit more and a slow fashion brand scale up a bit more, I think that's where the balance would be found. And just like feeding on to the idea of making people feel outdated is something that's outrageous for me to even think of. Like, you're telling somebody every week that, oh, you're not looking good enough and you need to buy this is something, it's the wrong ideology to build on a
Yeah,
business. So
yeah.
I think those thoughts need to change. And even if anybody is producing at a larger scale, they're producing for good. I think the entirety of it will eventually change. And I see a lot of young designers working very closely towards sustainable fashion. I think it's easier for them than established designers, again, because adopting a change is very tough in fashion cycles. So being a young designer, the way I could start, I'm very happy because I could, I was aware and I could build my company on those ethos that, okay, we are going to recycle and we are going to upcycle. So since day one, I've been doing that. So it's easier for me to do it at a bigger scale also.
Yeah.
Mm.
Thank
In my
you.
case, I
How
have
about you?
different. Do you
Sorry.
say again the question? Say again the question, Kashish. Read it over again.
Like, what does the future look like from the impact of fashion, what we see now? And what fashion impact do you desire? Like, we cannot
Okay.
be like, okay, I'm gonna be blind and not look at it. Yes, it is there.
No,
But at the same
it is
time, what
there, and we are gonna keep on being clothed, and we're gonna keep on needing dresses. So in my case, I am hoping. What I'm hoping is to find that balance, maybe that Ashita was mentioning. I think the only way would be with regulation. I think the only way is all these fast fashion brands that are overproducing are held responsible of the amount of waste and resources they are dumping and they're pumping on the society. And because they are accountable, they find ways to be more mindful and find the cross where demand and supply cross. And that in a way would lead to maybe the growth for them. More than the growth, I think is a more kind of like, it will lead them to have less waste, and it will lead them still to have the clients happy. It's a way of, ideally, I think we really should grow, but as I am in the realistic space, it's probably not going to happen. But I am hoping that regulation will level up, because it's very difficult for the market otherwise to do it, because we live in capitalistic world, and it's not going to happen unless there is regulation. You are overproducing. You are sending so many pieces to the landfill. You are burning them. You are emitting this many emissions. You are putting so much polyester on your clothes. Now, this is the penalties that you have to pay for this, and all that money doesn't go to the politician's pocket, but goes to actually navigate how to deal with all those issues that those companies are creating. And I think that regulation, it is very necessary to bring transparency and accountability to the industry. Is the only way. Otherwise, now we see, like we were thinking some years ago, it was the Zaras and the Shein. The Zaras and the H&Ms. Now we have the Sheins and the Temus. And it's getting faster and faster. Now it's uber, ultra fast fashion what we are facing. There is, in terms of price, in terms of quality, in terms of everything, is like day and night. We have nothing to do with them in reality.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
for people that are just looking to buy a top, they may not have a second thought about it because it's so cheap. You know?
Like,
I
you know,
think
when
when
you
we
know,
talk about investment, they need to be ready to think about investment,
yeah.
in their lives. So
So
the way that we will be able to level up the field in reality at this moment is not only all of us supporting slow and sustainable fashion initiatives, which is very, very important, because that's really, as Ashita said, that's the way I keep my artisans having a salary. That's the way I can keep the business going, because otherwise it's a sustainable business that is not sustainable economically, and that will fail eventually. So
Yeah.
the way for the business to thrive and have a future is not only by getting clients, but also I think that needs a systemic change to allow for us to grow to a level where we are really there and we are able to preserve and do the initiatives that we are thinking of, in terms of preserving cultural heritage, in terms of preserving nature, in terms of pushing for new materials, or for keeping aside all the chemicals out of the crops and all of this. I think this is the only way, if the governments get together, or if there is some rule, like, I don't know, for example, Europeans are ruling that if you want to sell in this space, in the European Union space, you have to have these requirements. If not, you cannot sell. And they have banned items that were from Shein and Temu because they were full of lead, and that is toxic, my friends. But they are selling it like if it's hotcakes, and people don't know because you're not going to have the materials to actually detect these kind of issues and see that it's going to create an issue for your health. But
Yeah.
they do have, and they have a way to regulate what is coming in and what is not coming in. If all the countries would care enough and will have the means to actually make sure their citizens are not being exposed to all this, I think it would be brilliant. It will be good for the environment, it will be good for the citizens, it will be good for people that are doing things the right way, instead of the people that just are trying to,
Yeah.
my
Like,
opinion. That's my future. That's the one I want to see, real change. But because the governments are also supporting and seeing like, okay, this is a matter of health, national security and national health. For India as a producing country is even more important. You don't only have the people that are wearing the clothes, you also are producing. You have all the farmers that are producing the cotton. You have all the people that are dyeing the cotton, weaving. It's so important that those materials are in good, they are not toxic, because everything is manual. Everything is happening with the hands, and they're getting all that toxicity.
Yeah. Like, when, we go and buy something and we see something is, say, for $5, rather than getting excited about it's for $5, check that how much actually would be paid to a person who has actually made that. Like, it will not be even 0.5.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
rather than, like, it's important to reflect back, and entire thing with the balance and the consumption is the same conversation which is about, did eggs come first or chicken? Like, I was reading this book about Purple Cow, which was about how the entire industry changed after the, when the digital advertise, like the TV came in and the advertisement started. Like, is it really about the production going faster, or it's even about pausing and reflecting that what are we buying? So if we are mindful about our buying, the production would also be mindful about producing.
And right now we also have the technology to be able to be more accurate as to where or how much do we need to produce,
Yeah.
So I think technology is going to be helping us to find, okay, this is the amount of, I don't know, through
Like,
surveys
how
or
can we
even
use AI to our advantage? Because when AI is now
exactly.
booming, it can be such a, I just feel, yes, it is about going back to the roots, but I think including technology with this would just be so much greater impact, where we can be becoming more mindful. Like, I have like a lot of conversations that you are talking about, handmade and all of that. On the other eye, what do you think about AI? Because I think using that, we can be so much mindful. It's not about that, oh, AI is going to take over and we're going to have more consumption. But again, with that,
No. AI is a tool. It will depend what for we are thinking of using it. If you want to be the worst and do worse and stuff, you can use AI and it will help you do the harm. But if you are thinking how we as human beings can improve our lives and make it better, AI is also a tool for us to get that. So we should not stop technology. We should actually be intentional about the use that we want to give to that technology so that it benefits us as humanity. And in here, we need to be generous and not think how it's benefiting me. It's actually how it's benefiting humanity as a whole, as a collective, as a society, and not even a country-wise. We need to think global. How AI can help us sort out so many problems that it feels like we cannot sort alone. How is
Yeah.
helping the medicine, for example, how is helping to find out very early signs of cancer and how to detect them and put a solution to it before it gets worse.
Yeah.
AI is fantastic, honestly. We just need to embrace it with the right intention and with a good heart so that it actually serves everybody. But I
Yeah.
think AI will help fashion big time because we have seen it already, for example, with cloud, that you can minimize the amount of samples and sampling. Many
Yeah.
people don't know, but samples in fashion, oh my God, is very polluting because you
Yeah.
create it, you don't know how it's going to be fitting. So from production, they send it back to wherever the designer is sitting. They try it on. Oh no, the sleeve needs to be longer, shorter, this, that. No, let's make this or that. They send it back, then back again, then back again, back again, back again, back again. There is a lot
I'm
of
so
waste.
much
There is a
loving.
lot. It is like that. If you are lucky
Yeah.
and you have your production close to you, at least there's not that much logistic, but there is a lot of to's and fronts when you are actually
Yeah.
not sitting where the production is happening. And thanks to cloud, you can see immediately how your pattern is going to be fitting in the person, and you can do the adjustments there. So you definitely minimize the amount of samples that you are needing
Yeah.
before you run into
Like,
production. That also makes shorter the times of production, so also it's good. I think
yeah.
all
With
this
that,
will be
I think we are like, this conversation is so
Mhm.
like, taking to different places. Like, I know we were tied on a schedule, but we still have to open with the conversation we have so many questions with the
Yes.
participant. Like, how the time flew
Yeah,
when
I
you're
just want
doing
to sleep.
something about the
True.
conversations. So not only like changing, but making impact. And the top, we are like literally on the top of the hour. And we would open, like, it is such a beautiful conversation. I can go on and on and on for like hours now, but we still have the third episode, and definitely we should include more of AI because that's like the most conversation, like, wherever we go, it's a conversation which is like there, how are you going to useful? Is it going to be benefit, not benefit, and all of that. With that,
Mhm.
Romit, I would like that. Is there any questions from the participant and for our beautiful panelists, which we can
Oh,
address?
yes. We have
Yeah.
many questions, so I'll try to combine them so you can answer quickly. And for the audience, you can always reach us out. I mean, at Thursday at Kashish Global, we are available all the time. So you can reach out on our Instagram channels or wherever you find us. You can just text us. But we'll try to answer. And I just want to say that I love the conversation. I was listening it all, and then everything that you said, not even a single thing that I could think that this has been said, but it was like actually living in that moment. Your experiences, like I was feeling like I was there when you were sharing these experiences. And I was actually resonating with the fact what Arceli mentioned, that you should never go hungry to a shopping store or something like that, because it usually happens. I mean, to take an example of, let's say, cold drinks, it's usually buy one get one scheme. But when I
Mhm.
come home with both of these, I realize that I didn't even want one. So just because of the scheme, I bought two. So that's the case we are, I think, considering with everything, and especially with fashion. So we have one question from Sreyashi, and I'll combine the question which we have from Narayana. They're asking how, as a student at a domestic level, we can do in sustainable fashion. What can we do? Because every day new trends are coming up, so it becomes very difficult to be sustainable as well as stylish.
Okay, can I take this one?
Yes,
This
yes.
one is my jam. Okay, I'm also a fashion editor, mi amor. And I had to be every other day in an event, all stylish and all everything. And it is totally possible. You just need to invest in pieces that you feel proud of. And if you wear them, because you see, this is the thing. When you are buying from fast fashion brands, you are thinking maybe, oh, this is cute, I'm going to put it on. It doesn't, because the stitching is not properly done, quality is because it's normally polyesters and stuff. The clothes don't last that long. You will see that maybe they misshape here or there. You can't, it's not great really. So when you want to be affordable, then it's a better reason even to invest on sustainable fashion, because the clothes are properly made. They're using natural materials that are going to last you longer. So honestly, if you are thinking of fast fashion, and as Rumit say, you end up buying what you're not needing just because they make it so appealing in there. You end up buying more because now you have two things and you spend money on two things that you are not really using, or you're not really sure why you even bought them in the first place, right? When you are intentional, you are buying with an investment in mind. You know, okay, I love this dress. I'm gonna wear it to this, to this, to that. We always have this thing when in sustainability, when you go shopping, how the piece that you are buying that you are liking is gonna fit within the rest of your closet, so that it doesn't force you to buy more things. You kind of like can integrate it with the things that you already have. Imagine trends. Pineapples, right? Everybody likes the pineapple prints and it's all the craze. Everybody buying pineapples here and there. Pineapples, later will be donuts and later will be dinosaurs. Who knows? You know, like they're constantly changing. Unless you really like the print and you really feel like, okay, I love pineapple print. I'm going to be wearing it. I don't care if people say, oh, this is so last year or this is so last 2 years ago. Don't buy it. Go for things that are good with your silhouette. I think we need to stop eating or breathing the trends that the fast fashion brands want us to breathe just because it's convenient for them. The trend should be your body type, your lifestyle. How does it sit with you? Do you for this is great if you have the possibility, research a little bit about your skin tone, how you can, what colors make you look better, and work with that. Look what your silhouette for your body type, it looks better on you. What kind of clothes look better on you? Do you want maybe to look like you have, I don't know, longer legs? Then maybe you need to get high waist trousers. You know, there is things here and there depending on what you want to do with what your mother nature gave you, and that way you will be able to be always stylish. And more importantly, you are stylish for your own style. You will be recognized not because you are just following whatever trend is going around, but because you have your unique style that works well for your body type and makes you look and feel like $1 million. That should be the key, really.
And
Wow.
I would
So
like to add
I'm passionate about this, because when they say, "Oh, it's not sustainable fashion is not affordable," there is sustainable fashion that is affordable, first of all, but it still requires you to stop and think what you want and how you're gonna be integrating it in your life, in your closet. If you are a person that is doing, I don't know, that is too busy, that has like me, kids, and you go and come and go and come. Maybe you need clothes that are easy to wash, you know? You don't maybe have the time to go to the dry cleaners. Look for things that go well with your body type and with your lifestyle too, you know? And use
and
them.
I would
Be
like to even
mindful about it.
add I would like to even add, like, as a young kids and as a teenager, upcycling and recycling is also so important. The same t-shirt can be worn in such a different ways where you can style that, and even swapping, like with your friends around, like, one thing can be worn in a different way, and you like couple of friends coming together and doing a swapping also, if not on the larger community level. And there are so many swapping events now happening across the
Yeah.
globe, like in India, in
You
UAE.
can
I
even
know
organize your own with your friends. Just
yeah,
make sure that they have more or less the same size as you.
yeah. And
And
again,
that's
with
it.
that,
Invite
there
them
can
for
be a lot of,
pizza.
yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Ah.
I think it's just that, and like how Ashita also, when she started, she was not in her 30s or 40s. She saw something and she made the change. So, it's not only about looking at something and complaining, but how you can imbibe that change as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I would like to add on to this. I think because I think I resonate with this journey the most. I started Pevant at the age of 23, and I was completely driven away, like, in the beginning with the fast fashion and finding new outfits, feeling bad about myself if I'm repeating clothes. I think the best possible way to be sustainable is to be authentic. Don't try to be somebody else. The moment you try to be somebody else, you fall for trends.
Yeah.
The more you be yourself, the lesser, damage you will do to the environment. Just be comfortable in your own skin, in your own style. If you like a baggy shirt, then why not? Wear
Yeah.
that is your style. Don't feel the pressure of wearing, something fitted just because others are wearing it. stand for yourself. Like, I think this is for the design students, right? We are addressing the design students. So this will also help you find your own language in terms of design. The more you understand yourself, I think the better designer you will become. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's majorly the crux of it for me.
You know, before I was when I was in high school, we were also poor students. I was part of a volleyball team. Okay, I love volleyball very much. And with my friends, we used to go with my team. We used to go shop together, and we had what we call the common closets. And the common closets was precisely that we would go shopping together. We would buy things that all of us or most of us would like, and each one of us maybe buy one top only. But hey, we had in reality 9 tops that we could have access to.
That's amazing.
Because we were
That's
doing all
amazing.
this together and we were more or less the same size, more or less. The breast was a situation in some cases, but more or less the same size. We were able to kind of like swap between one another the clothes that we were buying. So it was really, really cool. It was a good way to have an extended closet, and it was not costing us more money. So I recommend you also to do that. And but mind you also that that was back in the day, and also we were more mindful that, for example, the clothes were lasting longer after than now. Now it's really, really terrible. I don't know really what happened with quality. But before we could, we could loan them, wash them, la 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 la. Now I see some people are like, yeah, but like I'm scared it's gonna break, or maybe if they wash it, clothes are supposed to last. We should really not forget that clothes are supposed to last. So go look for the quality too. Even when you are gonna create your common closets with your friends, look for quality so that you can actually have it in the circle, in the circular mini economy that you are creating for longer.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I love how in just one question you guys all answered all the questions that were asked in the chat box and question answer section. And since we're almost at the end of the webinar, I will say that what I could gather at the end is that it's about your style, not what is happening in the market. What clothes fits you, what clothes suits you according to you. And I think if everybody understands this very simple agenda, I think the fast fashion problem will be solved in just one day. And with that, I thank you all for joining this amazing webinar series. We're glad to have you all in this, and then it'll be available on YouTube to watch it later. And thank you so much. And with that, I'll just announce for our NCR audience, if you're available, there's a swap event happening in DLF 5 Gurgaon, which I'll be inviting Ashita for sure personally. And you can try to do a swap. I recommend you what Arceli said, community shopping. That's a very good idea. So with one, you can have 4, 5 options with you. And always kudos to what Kashish is doing with the brand. And you should check everything out for all the speakers. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining.
Thank you
And I
so
will
much,
just add that. Thank you.
Ashita.
Your smile makes everything perfect, even your look and the outfit. So keep smiling.
Through the energy. That's what really makes it shine, right?
Thank you,
Thank you so
everybody.
much for everything.